Thank you, Seb from the future. David and Mark, Alessio's left us. How dare he? He's got other commitments in the past.
Yeah.
It's not good enough, and we're going to have to rethink his playing time for the rest of the season for this podcast.
So we may have to put him on the bench for a week or two.
Maybe,
More
absolutely,
for that.
maybe. Oh,
Oh,
what? It's the past and the door still knocks?
that's,
David, you should check who it is, David. I
I shouldn't
know.
even see who it is. Hold on a second, fellas.
All right, we'll wait. Mark, how's your past been?
Yeah, it was actually quite interesting.
Yeah, that's good. David, who was it?
Well, I think it was Paul Morris. Or was it?
Oh,
Yes.
it was Paul Morris. Oh wow. Was that all, David? Are you sure there wasn't anybody else at the door? Oh, there's another door knock. There's another one.
Hang on a second, fellas. Okay.
You go check it. What'd you have for dinner, Mark?
In the past or in the future? I'm not
In the
really
past,
sure.
right now.
In the past. Oh,
Yeah.
I had nuggets and chips. Exciting.
Oh, that's very nice.
I'm a
David,
12-year-old, yeah.
That's not wrong with that. David, who was it?
Oh, it was Mr. Joel Porter, everyone.
Oh, it's Joel Porter.
Good evening, lad.
Thank you both for joining us in the past due to you be at training right now, I think, as people are watching this. I'll first start out with a question to both of you. Paul, we'll start with you. Just tell us, I guess, sort of your background, your coaching journey here in South Australia.
Okay, first of all, thanks for having me on, boys. Appreciate it. My coaching journey started here 13 years ago at Salisbury Inter. I was there as a player, got a bit of a knee injury, and sort of morphed into coaching. Did the amateur reserves for a season, then from there went in and coached women's football, which I've been doing for the past 13 years. Started with Community Division 5 from there, and then worked my way through into the first team there, and then into State League, and fortunate enough to get promoted into the Women's Premier League. From there, I had a season at Para Hills after they got relegated. We had a pretty good season there. Unfortunately, couldn't get them back up, but became the first sort of State League to defeat a Premier League Women's Premier League side in the cup, which was coincidence was Inter. From there, I went to Salisbury United. Formed a women's team there, and within 2 seasons we'd won the league and won promotion to the Women's Premier League. Unfortunately, we didn't have enough junior girls at the time, and we were refused promotion to the Women's Premier League. And from there, the girls, were committed to Women's Premier League, so they moved on to different clubs. And from there, I got offered a job at Metro United as the reserves team coach. 2 years there, and then the last 4 years, I've been fortunate enough to be the women's head coach in the WM Premier League.
And for you, Joel?
Yeah, pretty much the same sort of journey. Stopped playing back in 2012-13, come back from the A-League. Obviously, Adelaide's the home state, so came back here and was, looking to play still, obviously, but, injuries and old age, I guess you could say, stopped the playing side, and had an opportunity to work with Ross Aloisi as his assistant at West Adelaide. That's West Adelaide men's, and then actually through that got the opportunity to assist him with the W League, Adelaide United W League, back in, I think it was 2014 season. So that was my first taste of coaching in the women's game, and then not long after that, my daughter started playing as well. So after a few ventures in the men's game, I decided to coach my daughter's teams. Back only 10 years ago, it was difficult to get junior coaches in the girls' game. So I sort of put my hand up, and then it's turned into being technical directors and things like that, and got the opportunity to move to Flinders Flames to coach the division team there. And from that moved on to their senior coach for the last 3-4 years prior to this year. Had the opportunity to get them into the WMPL, and we managed to stay up for 2 years. And then sort of parted ways, no real particular reason, just sort of grew in different directions, and had really nothing in the horizon to come to or to coach this year. But Comets got in touch not long after I'd made the decision, and it was just a good opportunity to, coach in the WNPL again, but obviously with a team that potentially or hopefully are, looking to be in that top echelon of the teams throughout the year, and hopefully play finals.
Absolutely, thanks for that, Joel. Paul, I guess going back to your coaching, as you said, you've been at Metro for a few years now. How do you approach, I suppose, another season where people almost sort of know what to expect from your side? I guess, how do you sort of change it up without sort of ruining things that you already have going?
Yeah, we're sort of known as the serial team that finishes sixth. That's the last 3 years we're getting closer. Last year we missed out on a point, but this year we've made with my assistant Tony Mansueto, we've made a conscious decision to play a different brand of football we've played in the last 2 or 3 years. We want to play more an attacking brand of football, possession based. But to do that, we made this decision back in October, sort of end of the season. But to do that, we had to recruit. Nothing against the players that we had. We had some great players. We've kept 95% of the squad we had last season, but we needed to bring in a little bit more experience. And also on top of that, we brought a little bit more youth in as well. But to play a different brand of football, we had to bring in a certain type of player. And we targeted 3 or 4 players within the league. We made some approaches. We were fortunate enough to make some good quality signings. And then probably the one piece of the jigsaw we were potentially missing over the years was a centre forward. And when we had trials out of the blue, Andrea Bustos turned up, better known as Pepper, a Chilean centre forward just turned up at trials and sort of fits the mould of player that we're looking for, and a good quality centre forward we've been fortunate enough to pick up.
Yeah, I've heard a lot of good things so far about her and seen her in action as well. We're very much looking forward to seeing how she goes. And just quickly before we move on to Joel, I heard a story, and I want you to either confirm or deny if it's true. Did you use our predictions as motivation for your side before one match that you played in pre-season?
Yep, certainly did. That's just been an ordinary side, I think it was. David, was them your words?
Oh, man.
Do you mind, I guess, elaborating as to how it came up and how you sort of spoke to the girls about it? For David's sake, absolutely.
Yeah, well, Sarah Taylor used to be a favourite, David. She's not now, mate. There's one way of putting it. There's a lot of the girls watch the podcast. And I watch it myself every week. I think it's great. I think it's great how and I thank you for that, the way you promote and support the women's game here in South Australia. So we do watch it with interest, and it was your pre-season predictions were very, very interesting from all of you, where you thought this would finish, and potentially based on the back of, as I said, our continuous position of finishing sixth. But it was just something, we spoke about at training. It's those little, Joel will probably understand, those little 1 or 2% as you try to find out of the norm, out of the box, as part of training, as part of preparation, just to give you that little bit more incentive and motivation. And we used it. We used it a little bit in training and used it in the game, and brought a little bit of success.
Your response, David, quickly.
I guess in our position, we put ourselves forward to we expose ourselves, I suppose, in that we aren't always going to get things right. We try to promote the game as best we can, but we can't. I suppose we have to have honest opinions, and we have to be open and honest, at times. And I hope you prove me wrong, and I hope you win the league and the title and everything else. I can't actually. I think that I sort of prediction we've finished sixth, and I thought mid-table mediocrity or something. Is that what I said?
I think that was what
That
it
was the word, mid-table mediocrity. I think it was 8th, but it wasn't.
Yeah.
It wasn't in a nasty way, David. We done it in a bit of humorous and enjoyable way. There was no nastiness in it. We just used it as a bit of a motivation. It wasn't just yourselves. We said it was the show itself, not just an individual.
Okay, thank you.
Well,
hang on, did you win after that? No, just did you win the game?
Beat Adelaide City in the pre-season cup.
You're welcome.
This is what I keep
Did you
saying.
not get the flowers? No, you didn't get the flowers,
Joel, on to you. I guess an almost complete opposite side to Paul. You're coming into a new side in Adelaide Comets. You've brought a few players over. Has bringing those players over from Flinders sort of helped with integrating how you're going to approach the season? I guess how's the transition been in general?
Yeah, look, when when I first took over, there wasn't any thoughts of taking or bringing any girls over, or needing any girls. But 2 weeks in, and we had a handful of girls that were looking at leaving, so we had to look elsewhere. And obviously the Flinders girls were girls that I knew and knew of and knew what their characteristics and their good points and bad points. So to bring a couple of the Flinders girls over was pretty much a no-brainer for me if we needed them, and we did. So I think we ended up losing 5 or 6 from last year's senior squad, Comets, and I think I've brought in about the same as well. I've managed to, obviously the 3 girls from Flinders, Maddie the goalkeeper, Anna Willoughby, and Lexi Denton, and then we've also managed to bring in ex-NTC Sienna Weston. She spent a year over in Melbourne last year, so she said she was coming back and gave us a call, and we had a chat with her, and I actually coached her at Cove under 14s or 15s, so sort of had sort of knew her from back there and knew her talent, and told her what we wanted to do this year and achieve, and she come on board, and then we got a couple of NTC girls that weren't quite Erin Kay. I'm not going to say the last name, but she's a great little player, but she's had a 12 months off through a really serious back injury, so she's coming back and she's put in really well this pre-season, so she's looking good. And then Mia V, also, who played a fair bit of games last year for their senior team and has just obviously been left out of going forward with the NTC. And Adam, my assistant, actually coached her as a junior as well, so we just had a good chat with her just to see where she's at and what we can help her with and where she wants to go and improve, and Comets was the place for her. So we've managed to bring in some really good girls and experience and youth and girls that are wanting to improve and get to that next level. But at the same time, bringing in 6, 7 girls. Sorry, one I forget. We've got a girl coming from Brisbane as well. She's Elizabeth Warren. She's just arrived this week, so she's just started training, but she's also coming back from a ACL injury as well. So we're sort of helping her with that and hoping in the next couple of months she'll be fit, ready to go for some games as well. But we've had to bring in 7 girls. We've lost about 6 or 7. So gelling this team and this squad, on paper, it looks a very strong squad. But as you guys know, paper doesn't win you matches or games or seasons. So there's been a lot of work that we've had to do in pre-season to get us gelling and to get us understanding the way we want to play. We also want to play an attractive brand of football, possession based, but at the same time be also ruthless out of possession and not give teams opportunities to play their style of game, because as you know, the game's getting better in the women's game, and most teams now have good squads and can play decent football. So you have to have both ends.
Absolutely. Mark, you had a sort of follow-up question to that?
Yeah, it's more based at Joel with the coaching side of it. How have you had to change your approach with your and the transition from coaching a sort of lower league club, lower table club, to now having to coach a team that is expected to make finals and make the grand final, or even at least or possibly looking at winning it this year? So have you had to change your approach in any ways, or is it still the same process?
Yeah, no, it's still pretty much the same process. I think, that attacking style of play. I tried to play with Flinders, and on occasions we got it right. Just and this is no disrespect to the girls at Flinders. We just didn't have the quality all round the squad to be able to be consistent enough to get the amount of wins to get us into the finals or any further. To their credit, they tried and to play the brand that I'm trying to put here with Comets. And we won enough games to keep us in the league. So they certainly did it on occasions. They just weren't able to keep it as consistent as what I'm hoping this squad with Comets will be able to do. And consistency is the key. And for me, from what I've noticed as well, it's mentality. It's the mental side of the game that is probably the weakest in the women's game. There's no, we're always having to try and bring them the hunger and the desire and the will and the want to, to put forward in games and trainings and all these things. So that's probably been the toughest thing, but that's not just me. I think that'll be just the pretty much everyone who's coaching in the WNPL at the moment. It's a culture thing in the women's game that we're all trying to change, and it is getting better. It's just, at the moment, it's not a squad of 16, 18 who, in the boys' game, they're all mentally want to be that best player on the field. We're not quite got that with the girls at the moment. We've got, a handful, and that's getting us through, but we need to try and change that mentality. Well, that's what I think. That's what I'm trying to do. And to get them to understand that every training session, every game matters, no matter who we're playing.
Yeah.
Paul, back to you. I suppose you spoke about some players coming through. Are there any players perhaps that that have impressed you in pre-season so far? Or anybody that we should, I guess, be looking out for during the season?
We again just going a little bit back to Joel's point. It's 100% right. The values. We try and instill through the girls is that hunger, want, desire, effort, attitude, and trying to get that into training and into games. And again, it's that consistency thing. That's what's let us down the last couple of seasons. On a day, we feel we're capable of beating anyone, but it's that consistency which is the challenge you have. And Joel quite rightly says it's there in the women's game. It's getting better. It's getting closer, but it's that consistency bit. That's the magic. I think that's the magic portion, if you can find that. So for us this season, we're fortunate. We've brought in some really good players, some really good people. Siobhan Easton and Natasha Vella have both come over from Adelaide Uni, both experienced players, footballers, good quality people, made the squad really good. As I said, we spoke a little bit about Pepper earlier. And just two of our younger players we brought in Erin Prince-Ower. She's come over from Melbourne. She's just turning 16, 15, turning 16. Played at Alamein last season. She's moved over to South Australia, and we were fortunate enough to pick her up. And young Lauren Franklin, again, a 15-year-old in the squad, just turning 16 throughout the season. She's been promoted from our youth side. She travelled last season down from Port Lincoln every game for under 17s to turn out. Her family have made the commitment this season to move her down and themselves down to Adelaide, and she's a fantastic little player. She's got potential at that age to go to anything she wants to be. I believe she's a great little player. And on top of that, Courtney Mitchell. She played in South Australia, West Adelaide, and into a few years ago moved into state, and she's moved back, and we fortunately picked her up as well. So. And on top of our usual, our squad, of Victoria Mansuetos, the Millie Scotts, Michaela Hidayes that we've got already in the squad. So we're really happy with the squad we've put together this season, and we're looking forward to it all starting on Friday night for us.
Absolutely. I suppose, Joel, you touched on it before, but I suppose, anybody that stood out for you so far in your preseason matches?
Everyone's the beauty of the pre-season matches is you get to challenge the girls, and you get to obviously put them in. That's what I do. I put them in difficult situations, so probably sometimes play them out of position, just to see the mentality side, what we can get out of them. But there's, I think Anna Willoughby, she obviously won the medal last year. She's stepped up again. She's enjoying the environment and being around a group of girls that are vying for that top 2, top 3 position, that fighting side of things to get the best, and she's improving. Elena, the captain from last year, she's also our captain this year. She's stepped up in the leadership role. She's from playing against her, she was always a tough opponent and always a very good defender. Being able to coach her, you can see that she's so much more. She leads the team. The girls trust in her. Not only that, she's got a great football brain, great understanding of her position. I'm just hoping that I can get a bit more out of her in possession, because she's really got great technique with her passing range. So, Elena, Georgie playing her as a 9. She's played most the last couple of years as a 10, so we're sort of putting her out of her comfort zone. But for me, she's a natural 9. She's great with her back to goal, can turn, great finishing. So, we've got some good youngsters coming through. Isabel Nottridge, who was also an NTC player not long ago. She's played in our midfield as a number 6, so she's stepped up to the plate. So she's looking close to potentially starting on the weekend as well, on Friday night. So, everyone's done really good. It's going to be tough. We've got only 10 positions plus the goalkeeper, and we've got 15 girls that are vying for those spots. So it's going to be tough to pick a starting 10, but as a coach, that's what you want. You want it to be difficult to pick. If it's easy, then, not everyone's pushing each other. So everyone, to be fair to them, have put their best foot forward. It's just now about the squad and deciding what's best for that first game Friday night.
Absolutely. It should be a great spectacle there at Ellis Park as well. David, you had a question.
Yeah, I was just going to ask you both, and then whoever wants to go first is fine. I just wondered what your views were on all-female clubs. We've got a few of them in the state, of course. We've got Jaguars and we've got Flinders, and I just wondered if I'm a father of daughters that used to play but don't anymore. Our options up in the hills, we didn't have a female-only club, but I just wondered, do you feel there's an advantage in that, or not? Do you think does it help the girls? Or I just want to know what your opinion was on all female clubs versus I was going to say multi-gender. Is that the right term in this day and age?
Yeah.
Because I coach Flinders, who's and just an all-girls club, and there's definitely lots of pros to that. We don't have to share pitches with the boys. If we want the main pitch on the training, we get the main pitch. All money's earned and raised is spent only on the girls. So whether it's getting better coaches in, better equipment, all that stuff. But at the same time, now coming into an environment where previously I've had been at a club where we've had boys and girls, and the men's side weren't particularly, or the club weren't particularly worried about the girls' teams. But I can't say that about Comets. We've come in and pretty much whatever the men's teams get, our girls get. So we've got a fantastic new stadium pitch that's there at the moment. We get equal amount of time on that pitch to what the men's senior team do. We get the same equipment. We're getting all our games videoed. We're getting GPS like the men's teams are getting. So that just helps us as the women's side, obviously, because the men's getting it, it's just an easier access for us to get it. So that's the positives for having the joint men's and women's at the same club. But look, as long as people are, it really doesn't matter what club you're at, as long as they're making sure that the women's game is progressing. It doesn't matter whether they're affiliated with a men's team or not. That's the main thing. And you've got to have the right people in the club. That's the most important thing.
Paul, I guess to you on that.
Yeah, I think potentially to less to popular perception, Metro United is still a women's only club. We're there at TK with Metro Stars, but we're fully funded and supported by Metro United and the committee and the hardworking volunteers there. So we do have facilities at TK, and we're fortunate as part of the upgrade there. We've got our own dressing room there now, which is fantastic for us. You know, we have ice baths in there for after training. We have 70-inch television in there for drop down reviews. You know, we get everything there, but we have no funding from them, so we fund ourselves. And again, like Joel says, it has its plus and minuses. With it all, anything we want is a challenge. You know, with the club, we're fortunate. You know, we have VO and we use that. You know, it's a fantastic tool for us, and we use that for our reviews. But that had to be funded by the club, and it's not a cheap exercise to go out and buy that, and the ongoing subscriptions that we have to do. So, it'd be nice. It'd be nice to be in a position, you know, to have GPS and have pitch time. You know, we TK, yes, we train at TK, but on Monday night we start at 8:00 and we finish at 9:30. You know, we've got girls who travel for an hour. So that's challenges. Tonight training starts at 4:45. So people have got to finish work, and we're off the pitch by just after 6:00. So we don't get same game time. We don't get, which would be nice, but we have to fit around the requirements at Metro Stars there. Be nice to have the same as what Joel seems to have at Comets, but we make do with what we've got. We're very grateful to the committee. You know, the committee at Metro Stars. It's, you know, this year, as I'm sure you're aware, it's our 20th year, and we still got the same founding members from 20 years ago run the club, and they're passionate about women's football, and will continue to do so. So, I
just want to say that I definitely commend you guys for the work you do. As I said before, I'm a father of daughters that played, and I'm all for women's football. I coached under 13s through to senior women at the Hawks, and I'm all for it. And I really appreciate, on behalf of that gender, if you like, if that's the right term, everything that you guys do for the women's game. So well done.
thank you.
Absolutely. I guess Paul will go back.
I actually said this might. I was just going to mention, Joel, you and I, we've actually crossed swords before in a coaching capacity. Are you aware of that?
No. I hope it was a good experience, mate. I don't know.
I was at the Hawks at the time, and I was coaching the under-17 girls, and I was also involved with the reserve girls, and it was in the immediate post-COVID years. So on occasions when people had COVID, i.e. the main coaches, the head coach and his assistant at the time, I would step up and I would coach in the WSL with the Hawks. And on the 3rd of July 2022, I was down at Flinders United with the Hawks girls in a WSL game down there. And our first half was poor. That's the Hawks. Our first half was poor, and at half time, I gave a rallying call and an inspirational half-time talk. We were 1-0 down at the time, and they came out in that second half a different team. And they conceded 4 more goals. You guys ran out 5-0 winners.
Sorry, I ended your senior career, coaching career like that.
It pretty much was the last game I ever coached. Thanks.
I did the girls a favour then, did I? Is that what I did?
It appears so.
Final, I guess, questions from me. Paul, we'll go to you first. First game, of course, this Friday against newly promoted Campbelltown.
Yep.
I suppose, how do you approach a game against a team where you know how good they were last year, but I guess you haven't really had the ability to sort of see and almost sort of scout how they play in a way?
I've been and watched them. Seb, not a lot when they played Adelaide City at Oakton in the pre-season cup. I went and watched pretty much a half of the game. It's difficult, as Joel said, in pre-season cup games. You don't see you don't see true sides of how they pick, or everyone's trying something different, players in different formations, setups, structures. So we expect it to be a tough game. We watched them. I watched them a little bit last season in the promotion. Again, the challenge is it's a completely different side from last year. I think they've retained, 2 or 3 players, brought in probably 9 or 10, potentially 7 or 8 of those will start on Friday night. So it's an unknown. It's an unknown of what you're getting. You can only go off what you've seen and spoke to other coaches and other people who's watched them a bit. But it'll be a tough game for us. We're under no illusions. We've been working since November. We knew roughly where the fixtures were, so we planned a date in our heads where it would be, and fortunately it was the 7th of March is what we've worked towards, a date and a date all pre-season. It's come across as Campbelltown, which is good for us, promoted side. We just hope we get, we start well, we put a good display on, we give a good account of ourselves, and we're looking to walk away with 3 points on Friday night. But as I said, they're a bit of an unknown from where they were last season, with a lot of changes in their squad and setup.
Absolutely, it'll be a very interesting game. And then Joel, for you, of course, the football gods sensed irony and put you against Flinders for your first game as head coach at Comets. I guess, how do you approach that, being against former players and even your old club?
Yeah, I'm excited. I mean, obviously we have to play each other at some stage. So for it to be the first game of the season, it's going to be a fantastic spectacle, not only for the Flinders girls but for our girls, because it's our first home game at the new stadium. So you look a little bit apprehensive. Obviously, I know how a couple of the girls play, but they've Tom's come in and he's brought in some new girls as well. So again, I watched them a little bit in a couple of the pre-season games. They've got, if not the best striker in the state, in Cote, in their squad. So she's dangerous for the whole of the 90 minutes. She doesn't have to be doing much, but she only needs a minute to create something or to score a goal herself. So, they've got some, good seasoned WNPL players that have played the last couple of years, plus some really good youngsters that we've bred the last couple of the years and getting opportunities to play. So, the hard thing is that, at the start of the year, everyone predicts this, predicts that. And, obviously with predictions, Flinders are probably the underdog. But with that underdog status, you can go into games with no fear, and that's what they'll have. They'll come there with no expectations. No one's expecting them to get anything out of the game. They can just go there, play the best they can, and whatever. If they lose, then no one cares. If they win, well, hey, they've done the bit they've done. A little bit of the pressure is on us, and that's where we've just been working on that mentality side and making sure, it's not about the opposition we're playing. It's about the 90 minutes, the game, and how we can play that game and get the best out of ourselves. And if we can do that more often than not, then, we're likely to win more games than what we lose. So just preparing ourselves for that. Looking forward to a good Friday night, hopefully a good crowd. It's a great pitch. We've been training on it. The surface is fantastic. So the football, there's going to be no issues with the girls with their passing or controlling the ball. If there is, it's not because of the pitch. So it's going to be a fantastic night, and hopefully with it being Tom's old team as well, my old team. We've got a couple of ex-players. They've actually got a couple of our ex reserve / senior players as well. So there's a whole lot going on there, and it should make for an entertaining game.
Absolutely, a very, very big weekend in general, I think, for the first round. David, what do you have
boss.
for us?
Would you like to do a wee quiz?
Absolutely, of course.
Okay. We'll whiz through this very quickly. This is just my thing, Joel and Paul. I don't know. I just end up doing these little quizzes. So this week's quiz for you guys is how well do you know the 2024 WNPL season? You've just got three questions each. No, 4 questions each. I'll ask you a question, Joe, and then Paul will get a question, and we'll work our way through it. And the panel can have input after the question's been asked as well. 1 point for a correct answer, and I'll give your opponent the option to answer after as well, if that makes sense. You'll work it out as we go along. You ready for this?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
First question for you, Joe. West Adelaide finished top of the ladder in 2024. How many points clear of second place Adelaide Comets were they?
I'll say 5.
5, okay. Paul, did you want to give me an answer as well? I'll just work my way through them.
I think it's more, but you can just work your way through them. I'd say 9.
Okay. Well, Paul, I'll give you the point for that because it was 9. Exactly. Well, this is effectively your question, but I'll ask Joel as well. But Paul, this is for you. You can answer first. Sturt finished bottom of the table in 2024. How many points adrift were they of the second bottom side, Adelaide Uni?
1.
Joel, have you got an answer?
Yeah, it was 1 point.
Okay. A point each for that. Paul has 2 points. Joel has 1 point. 2 questions done. Joel, this one's to be asked to you first. Only one WNPL club finished the season without a draw. They either won or they lost all of their games. Do you know which club that was?
Sturt.
Okay, Paul, do you know which club that was?
Could it have been Metro United?
It was Metro United, Paul.
I was going to say Metro.
Yeah, Paul maybe had some inside knowledge there, I'm not sure. But anyway, Paul has 3 points, Joel has 1. Sorry, panel, I have kind of ignored you. Are you okay if we just race through this?
That's fine.
Yeah, no, keep going, mate. I'm enjoying this.
Okay. All right, the next question. Paul, this is your one to answer first. West Adelaide lost 1 league game all year. It was way back in round 3 of the 2024 WNPL season. Do you know who that 3-0 loss was against?
Oh. Yeah, you might got me on this one. Nah, I was going to say Salisbury in there, but I don't think it was.
Do you want to put something down or nothing down? You might as well stab.
Salisbury.
Okay. And Joel, what's your answer?
Sorry, I missed the start of the question. What was the question?
West Adelaide lost 1 league game all year. It was way back in round 3. It was a 3-0 loss. Who was it against?
Burkalla?
Nah, no points for either of you. It was Adelaide Comets.
Oh, there you go.
Right, Joel, question for you. Who was Metro United's top league goal scorer last year?
Oh, no, don't know. I wouldn't even know Flinders.
Paul, maybe this is going to be a bit easier for you to get this one. I don't know. What do you think? Who was the top scorer?
It's not actually. It's between 2. It's either between Vic or Hayden, and I'll go with Vic Mansueto.
It was Victoria Mansueto. Paul, you've moved up to 4 points. Joel, you've still only got the 1. Paul, this is your question. Paul, this is your question. How many league goals did Victoria Mansueto score in 2024?
8.
Joel, would you like a guess?
I was going to say 7.
Paul's got it. Ian has 5. You've only got 1, Joel. Come on. Right, Joel. Next question. This was yours, Joel. Anastasia Willoughby and Rachel Quigley famously tied for the Shirley Brown Medal in 2024. Who was the runner-up, i.e. the person that finished 3rd behind those 2?
Oh.
What a good question.
Wow.
Seb might know. Phone a friend.
I think I might know.
Nah, I don't know. I'd had too many drinks that night.
Do you know Paul?
What was it? No, I can't.
Nicole Calder.
No. Does the panel know?
Was it Stella Vicherek?
It was Stella Vicherek, Seb. I should have
What a
made
good
that
shout.
6 pointer that I put in the lead.
He's got a good shout, Seb.
It's because he was helping run the night.
I was trying to remember the graphic in my head.
Okay, so look, Paul's got 5 points, Joel's got 1 point. I'm going to make this last question worth 4 points, which means, Joel, if you get this right, it's a draw.
I still don't know.
I've got to ask Paul the question. In which round do Adelaide Comets and Metro United meet this season, 2025?
We only look one game at a time, but
1 game at a time, that's a great plug. Write that down, Seb.
Is that 2 weeks in a row we've had a guest say that, I think?
oh, jeez. 6, round 6.
Okay, Joel, what do you say?
Yeah, I think it's a little bit later, maybe round 8.
Round 5, did you say, Joel?
Yes, round 5. That's right.
Round 5. Well done, Joel, you got it right, and that was a 4-pointer, which means it's ended up a tie, 5 points each. Well done, fellas.
Great quiz. Sale of the century stuff, that's.
Thank you for that wonderful quiz, David, as
No
always.
worries.
And on that note, Joel and Paul, thank you both for joining us tonight. Paul, very much good luck for your game against Campbelltown on Friday, and then Joel as well, especially very much good luck to you against your game against Flinders at Ellis Park as well on Friday night. It's been a pleasure to have you both with us.
No, thank you. All the best for the season, Joel, and I'll see you in round 8.
Yeah. And you, Paul. Appreciate it, mate. Good luck too, buddy.
Yeah, all the best.
Thank you,
Thanks,
gentlemen.
boys. Thank you very much.
Take care, mate. Thanks, guys.
Bye.